Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, this channel is geared specifically towards people that are interested in personal finance as well as wealth management and growth, and a little bit of entrepreneurial advice from the many businesses that I have. So if you find something useful in this video, please like the video. That way the YouTube algorithm gods can go ahead and push this video out and this information to more people. If you really do enjoy what you see and you want to go ahead and follow along with more information that I provide based off on my experience, then feel free to subscribe. That way you can go ahead and stay up to date. Let's go ahead and get into it, guys. In this video, I want to talk about the 50-30-20 rule when it comes to managing your personal finances. Now, I do want to go ahead and talk about each and every single segment and the importance of that, but I also want to go ahead and talk about how you can kind of bend the rules. I personally have bent the rules, so to speak, and I'll go ahead and I'll cover how I bend the rules and kind of my own personal experience with the 50-30-20 rule. Before we even think about any of this, you need to go ahead and make sure that you have your personal finances budgeted out. A budget is very, very important. And I know that some people, at least myself, when I first started budgeting and looking at my finances and trying to keep everything in line, I felt like I was trapping myself, that I was pretty much setting up boundaries for myself, saying I cannot spend more than this on a specific thing, or I cannot do more than this on a specific thing. I felt like I was really, really constricted, and that I was leading myself down a line where you could essentially say that I was living a very boring life. But in reality, if you have the funds to go ahead and set this up properly, you don't really need to worry about that. You can still do leisurely activities. You can still go out to the restaurant and have a nice meal with your friends and family, go out, grab a beer, whatever it may be that you want to go ahead and do. You don't have to kill your social life in order to be financially fit or in order to be financially responsible. So let's go ahead and say that you make a certain amount of money, whatever it may be, and you have an idea of the money that's coming in on a monthly or weekly basis and the money that is going out on a monthly or weekly basis. I prefer to go by months just because of my finances, but whatever works best for you. Once you have that budget set up and once you have an idea of the funds that are coming in and where your money is going out, that's when you can go ahead and start breaking down the amount of money that you make and where you put that money. So the 50 portion, that first 50%, that's where you can go ahead and pretty much set aside all of your expenses, everything that goes in there, and your necessities, some wants as well. So when it comes to that 50%, you're talking about your mortgage or your rent, your car loan or your car payment, cell phone bill, utilities, grocery store food. If you want to go ahead and budget money aside for going out to restaurants on a monthly basis, you can go ahead and do that as well. I know people that go out to eat at least once a week, sometimes a couple times a month, whatever it may be. And then other extra payments that you do, whether it's to debt, small debt, large debt, whatever it may be, or credit cards. Obviously, I would try to get rid of those as fast as possible because that's essentially the benefits of compound interest just working against you. And I've talked about that in a previous video. But in this instance, you want to go ahead and set up money so that you have that going out. If it's less than 50%, that is awesome because that means that you have a surplus and you can go ahead and put more money in the other portions of this rule. But each and every single person's scenario is completely and totally different. So it's 100% up to you and how you handle it. But that is the first 50% of that. The 30%, when it comes to the 30% rule, you want to go ahead and use this money for savings. If you don't know what an emergency fund is, that's essentially 3 to 6 months worth of money or finances that you have set aside in case there's any sort of emergency, whether you get into a car accident, whether you get fired from your job, whether you have a medical bill that pops up that you have to go ahead and pay and take care of straight from the get-go. That's something to have there. It is a little bit more comfortable to have that there. If you have more people that you take care of or more dependents, then that might be a little bit more than 3 to 6 months worth. You might need maybe 9 months worth or maybe a whole year's worth. I know some people that have plenty of money set aside in case something happens. And I do recommend that you set this aside in a savings account, a high yielding savings account, if you can find that. And that'll go ahead and kind of have that money there. It's more liquid than having it in stocks or bonds or alternative investments. That way things are set aside and it's there just in case something happens in the future, because there's no way of predicting the future or whatever it may be. When it comes to the 20% portion of the rule, this is where you go ahead and kind of play with money, so to speak. This is where you invest money in either stocks, bonds, alternative investments. I wouldn't recommend doing too much crypto, but that is something that you can go ahead and do as long as you have a balanced portfolio with all of your investments and everything that you're putting money in. If you read The Richest Man in Babylon, Arkad, he goes ahead and mentions all the time 1/10 of your income 10% is definitely something that is a little bit more conservative in my opinion. 20% is definitely something more along the lines of what is foreseeable in the future. And with the benefits of compound interest, if you start saving at a younger age, obviously you're going to make much more money in the long term, and you will really start to benefit from compound interest and the benefits of that as time progresses. Now, when it comes to everything, it is a little bit flexible. And for instance, there are some people that have that 30% and they actually use that 30% for investments and keep 20% for savings and putting money aside into their emergency fund. Obviously, once you have an emergency fund that's healthy and well established, you can play a little bit more with the surplus of your budget and what you can go ahead and do to look at the long term. You might be part of the FIRE movement, which is another thing that is there, which is financial independence, retirement early. It's something that is very popular when it comes to people that are very, very well aware of what they're doing, but it is very sacrificial as well in some instances, and what people can go ahead and do depending on their salary and what it is they can go ahead and do. I myself personally, I actually don't really do the 50-30-20. I do 40-40-20. I have 40% of my expenses. This is, money that's in and out, leisurely stuff, whatever it may be, as well as the necessities that are covered. 40% is actually invested. I'm investing heavily in the stock market as well as bonds, crypto, all of that. I have a little bit more of an aggressive approach to things because I'm a little bit older. I have a little bit more liquid income that's coming in with all the businesses that I have going on in the background. And that allows me to invest more essentially. And then the 20% that I have set aside in case something happens, I do have a pretty healthy emergency fund. But at the end of the day, sometimes I want to go ahead and splurge on something, and I'll just go ahead and outright take funds from that and just splurge. It rarely does happen because I try to go ahead and invest more money on things. There's this saying that when it comes to financial freedom, being financially free is knowing that you can go ahead and buy something, but also having the willpower and the decisiveness to say no to it and keep that money for yourself, knowing that that will continue to grow over a long period of time and will provide much more comfort in the future. Obviously, everybody has a different approach when it comes to personal finances. Everybody has a different approach when it comes to managing money as well. But this is what I have found that works for me. Obviously, let me know what works for you. Let me know in the comments below whether this is something that you find feasible when it comes to your income, and if this is something that has helped you in the long run. Obviously, guys, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and stay up to date. I will go ahead and see you on the next one. Peace.